Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show. My name is Elle Russ, and I am a #1 best-selling author and master coach. My intention is to inspire, educate, and motivate you with weekly content featuring amazing guests and solo episodes. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about me, my courses, free masterclasses, partner discounts, and much more. Enjoy the show. Corin Grillo, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
I just want to let everyone know right off the bat, and we're going to get into your work, and I find, I love speaking about all subjects. But for those of you listening right now, hey, this might be a little bit on the woo-woo side, but I just welcome you to jump into it. The reason I wanted to interview Corin is because the title of her book, Angel Wealth Magic, simple steps to hire the divine and unlock your miraculous financial flow, to a lot of people sounds like, okay, come on, right? Even a little bit to me, even though I believe in intention, I believe, and I'm spiritual, but a lot of you are also very spiritual. And so I know Corin has a lot to offer us here, and not going to play the skeptic on this at all, Corin, because I love what your work is about. And I believe that it's one of those things where someone may prefer the word God versus universe. And so I just open everyone up listening to not just discount something because angel and magic are in the title. So with that being said, you are a licensed psychotherapist, you're a best-selling author, speaker, healer. Yeah, angels, magic, where's this coming from, Corin? What was the experience that led you to, because that's immediately what everyone wants to know, like, what's this about?
You know what? I pretty much have that same statement in my mind every single day. And I started out very grounded. I'm still very grounded. And I essentially had an experience with angels that kind of showed me they weren't just a figment of the imagination. I witnessed a miracle, essentially. And it really just shifted a lot of things for me. It wasn't just the miracle, but it was what I received from it on the inside. So I suffered a lot with depression for most of my life, had a really rough time of it. And it was the miracle that happened to me after the miracle that really let me know that angels were really real and that I wasn't just hallucinating that day. I went from just doing the traditional psychotherapist thing, trying to kind of still deny the fact that angels were real. But, at the same time, I was sitting with clients after that miracle, and then I would feel the angels come in and feel a presence there. And I kind of pretend like it wasn't happening and hoping it go back in the box, because essentially I had angel shame for a few years.
That's a new term. Absolutely. Angel shame. Yeah.
I was in
an embarrassment of angels is what you have.
I was in the angel closet for quite a while because, I kind of carried the same judgment. And the thing is that for me, it's not woo-woo on any level. And I think it's because I didn't bring it. I didn't learn about it from a book. I didn't learn, and I wasn't like trying to do it. It just happened. So for me, working with angels has been just a very, just a practical solution to living life. And it's just kind of a normal part of life, as opposed to it being a kind of a religious practice or even a spiritual practice. It's just like acknowledging what is versus a belief system. From my perspective, yeah.
All right. So everyone's going to be wondering, like, all right, what was the miracle? What happened? What did you see and feel because again, the experience is what has your belief being like, it's not woo-woo and crazy. I experienced it. I know, right? You have a knowing that some of us don't, who haven't had this experience. So what was that experience?
The experience was essentially, a friend of mine for my birthday bought me an angel reading. She didn't know that I was going through as bad of a time as I was, because I would, like so many of us, good at hiding what's actually happening versus, what you're going to show to the world. So she didn't know. So I went to this angel reading, and this lady, she started saying all kinds of stuff she shouldn't have known about. And at the end, she said, talk to the angels as if they're real, because they really want to keep talking to you. So I did. That's essentially all I did. I had an open enough mind to say, okay, look, that session was amazing. Let's talk, angel, show me that you're real, kind of thing. And then I saw a bunch of synchronicities, angel synchronicities kind of Yeah, I remember a truck driving by right when I asked, "Are you real?" A laundry truck drove by called Angel's Cleaning Service, and it had giant wings on it. And that was not the miracle, because for me, those types of synchronicities, it's still easy to kind of discount. Oh, it's just a coincidence. And I wrote a lot about this in my first book, The Angel Experiment. But the actual miracle happened a few days later, after me first talking to the angels as if they're real, where I witnessed essentially a bird drop from the sky, landed in front of my car as I'm driving through the hood in Los Angeles, going to a client's house. And as I drove around the bird, I saw that it had a broken wing. And I didn't know what to do, but I had been talking to the angels for a couple of days. So I just essentially asked the angels to take it out of its suffering. I felt horrible because I wasn't going to get out of the car. And, I didn't know what to do with the bird with the broken wing. But I essentially, I guess, prayed for it, asked a spirit to help. And as I drove around the bird, something told me to stop the car. So I stopped the car. I looked behind me and I saw the bird start shimmering on the ground a little bit, kind of bouncing a little bit on the ground. And then as I watched that one bird that was about pigeon size. A small bird jumped up from the body of that bird and flew away. And then a second, and then a third small bird jumped up from the body of that bird, flew away, and there was nothing left on the ground. And I decided to get out of the car.
Yeah, at that point, I'd be like, I'm not going to drive anymore for a minute. We're gonna take an assessment of what the fuck we just.
What the fuck? Exactly. So I went back there. I checked it out. There was nothing there, and the energy. What I felt was this almost like a heart explosion. Like a presence around me, like tingles and chills, almost like static electricity, profound love happen around me. And it was that I knew I witnessed something pretty radical because I could feel it. And I know what I saw. And so for me, it's just like, okay, it was like a seriously holy shit moment, but like literally there's some seriously holy shit. And I didn't know what to do with that, but I was, again, touched so deeply on the inside. And it was almost as if from that day forward, I had access to a whole different voice inside of me. Because before that time, the voice inside my head was very negative, very dark. I suffered with extreme depression, meaning, the only prayer I did back in the day was hoping that each day would be my last day. And then after this miracle, there's new life inside of me, a voice of hope, a voice kind of calling me into different directions in my life that I never would have done or conceived of, and a real authentic connection with the spirit world, which I did not have before. And like I said before, I wasn't sure it was real. I was always kind of like open to it, but I'm not a religious person. I never have been, and I'm still not a religious person.
That was going to be my next question, because angel, that word is usually associated with that. So sort of a non-denominational, spiritual, other realm, universal source type of vibe. Is that sort of just like a universal thing?
Essentially, yes. Okay. So what has happened to us with the religions is that we have, in a way, kind of gotten off track from the essence of what sparked all religion was a mystical experience. So the creators of religions, not that they created a religion, they just started sharing their experience, and then people later created that religion for them. It's the angels for me. I like to deconstruct what angels are, because people associate them with Judaism or Christianity, and it goes far past that. I believe angels or benevolent beings from all around the world. We have a collected body, a historical body of every culture essentially in the world already knowing about these benevolent beings. They call them by different names. And so again, it was important for me also to deconstruct it, because it was happening to me and I was in a very foul state of mind. I was not reading a bunch of, religious books. And so what it told me was that this stuff is here for everyone, not just a chosen few or people who worship, quote unquote, but it is in a way having allies and family there with us. And I do believe, the word angels means messengers. And so our ancestors, to me, are included in that umbrella, though there are ancient angels that I did work with in this particular book. But like I said, they're for all of us, and it's not a requirement that we be perfect or pious or any of that stuff that we've been indoctrinated with.
So is the essence of it, hey, if you open yourself up to it, it's available for everybody?
Yeah. Yes, essentially, because we used to always be opened up to this, right? It's only in probably the last couple hundred years that humanity decided to close the door on this experience, or for thousands of years, we have demonized the mystical experience and kind of made it some evil thing. But really, that was just the aspect of colonization, trying to kind of claim other lands and pretending that all these other practices are evil except for this. So yeah, it's for everyone. We are hardwired for this kind of work.
So a lot of people would be going, all right, that's great, but then wouldn't it be maybe a shallow thing to ask? Like, you're asking angels to help you making money. Like, why would, so many people have also been indoctrinated right into some sort of like false sense of financial humility, or poor is somehow better. Okay, we get that. But like, really, why would, so that question, right. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. Yeah.
Okay, so I almost am called to deconstruct why we've been indoctrinated to believe in essentially just poverty. And again, when you think about the big religions and those in power of the religions, it's like, let's think kings. They benefit from keeping the people without cash. Yep. And power and control and things like that. So this is why our sacred doctrines in a way have been perverted and perversed over the years. So we have to learn how to deconstruct some of that stuff for ourselves. But the reality is that benevolent beings have always helped humanity to thrive. We have cave paintings all over the world showing non-humans standing next to humans, showing them about agriculture and all kinds, science and all kinds of things. So like I said, this is perfectly natural, and money is what I like to say is, it's not our fault that we live in a capitalistic system, and spirit doesn't judge us for that. And I have realized in working with angels, even when I was not officially opening myself up to cash, I was opening up myself more to my heart, more to my actual journey, more to my joy. And with that came levels of success that were beyond my wildest dreams. So it kind of all goes hand in hand, and I don't separate my quote unquote spirituality from my quote unquote life. To me, it's all one big playground, and they are merged.
Yeah, I like it. How do you use it, access it? Are you seeing visually representation still of angels? Is it more of a feeling? How do you interact, and how is it since that time that you had? Is it like a regular occurrence, or is that like a one-off and now you just kind of have another vibe with it?
Yeah, I feel like my experiences change and transform. Initially, my most primary experience of them was a presence. And then if I was doing work, once I, gathered the lady balls to actually kind of say that, oh, okay, there's angels here. Can I share some truth with you? And no one ever said no. People are like, did you say angels? That's weird. I'm like, I know, it's so weird, but do you mind? So sometimes, you can see them as light as, with your physical senses. And to me, they still come in a variety of different ways. And each person is a receiver, and we receive in a lot of different ways. And a lot of people discount the fact that they don't see a giant angel there that's like handing them over a cup of coffee. Well, then they must not be real, or I must not be experiencing them. And in the beginning, it can be really subtle. It's just like a little attention or awareness opening up. And so you can feel them sometimes subtly, gently touching you, your hands. I remember I felt a hand on top of my hand. But I didn't really call it a hand. It was just, I just noticed it was like tingling. My hand was tingling. And then I realized it was, an angel holding my hand, letting me know that they're there so they can touch us. You can see them. And another faculty that we have is just knowing. So claircognizance. Sometimes you just know that you're right about something, know that there's some information coming through. And a lot of us discount our own knowing as a form of tapping into truth, tapping into spirit.
How can angels, in your opinion, help you make money? And share some examples in your own life and in general of people that you've worked with. I mean, once someone's open to this and able to be like, all right, you know what, I want to go down this path and kind of get into this. What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, you could just like give it a shot. For me, it's just an experiment, and my actual first book is called, the Angel Experiment. Yeah, let's just give it a shot, see if it works. That is my fundamental platform here. It's like, I'm not here to throw a bunch of belief systems at people. I want you to actually try and then come up with your own conclusions. So with the money thing, I mean, I'm just as shocked as a lot of people when you see like angel wealth magic. For me to write a book like that is because I was never really financially interested, right? And I never thought of that as like a primary thing. So I thought it was fascinating that they had me write this book, but it also is because I had worked through a process and I had to do some wealth attraction because during lockdown, I reduced my hours a little bit at work, and because my kids were both home and I wanted to make sure that I was attending to them, attending to myself also, and all of those things. So I kind of channeled a process, researched, found some angels that are known to help humans attract wealth, open up to wealth, success, those kinds of things. And the results that I had were so extraordinary. That when I was outside giving offerings to spirit, I was sitting, at a fire in full gratitude because I really couldn't believe what had happened. They kind of shared with me that, you're not supposed to keep this to yourself. You share it with other people, share this good medicine with other people, share the good word, essentially. And I'm like, okay. Because I don't really like officially to talk about money out loud in public either. But again, what I've noticed and when I work with spirit, I do my best to actually listen to the guidance and get over myself a little bit for the greater good.
So what are some things that you feel stops people from attracting their next level of wealth?
Not to sound cliche, but a lot of it is just their ability to have a bigger dream, their ability to think of themselves in a bigger capacity. Mm-hmm. So something that angels helped me do was think of myself and my abilities in a different capacity. So I'm a brown woman and both my parents came from extreme poverty. And I did not grow up with a lot of wealth or have access to wealth or know people with access to wealth. So the mindset that I was with and that I was gifted ancestrally also was one of, we're just going to kind of get by, exist. That's fine, totally fine. But I had a different idea and I wanted to kind of break out of that belief. So really the angels kind of started inspiring me to step out of my own box. And so I say initially it's, first of all, noticing that there's this invisible membrane around your life that is there for a variety of different reasons. Our first task is to notice that is there. Why can I not get past this love threshold, this wealth threshold, this health threshold? Here's this invisible membrane. What can I do to hack that, to hack the system? Well, for me, I've worked with angels for over 10 years and with my health, with my love life, with my finances, with my career, all of it.
What are some changes people can make right now to be more wealthy in this capacity? Or how could someone, what's a quick experiment on opening oneself up to that?
Well, first is to really claim it, right? So how does it feel to say, I am wealthy, or I commit to being wealthy? And if you can say those things and notice there's not a lot of pushback, then that's, that's a green light. But a lot of people, like I said, they just kind of exist in a certain place, just assuming that that's the place they're meant to exist in, like I did. And so claiming it first, realizing that and asking from the heart, okay, I'm curious about this. I do want to break this ceiling, whether you're entrepreneur and your business has only kind of gone to a certain place over and over again. We all have these different invisible membranes that are guarding, the next garden, if you will. And first, just seeing it and then asking for creative solutions to move past wherever it is that you are and to get you to where you'd like to see yourself go.
What are some success stories that stand out to you, or some favorites of yours, and people who, embraced this and finally had some major turnaround and belief?
Okay, so should we just talk cash? There's people, there's tons of stories in all directions.
Whatever,
So,
whatever ones are your favorite or you think are good ones to highlight, or
Yeah, well, there was a pastor that was kind of coming around, taking my courses and classes. He was really curious, leaning in, and from a very conservative place, Nashville, Tennessee, and he saw that I was going to teach this class, and he wasn't sure he wanted to take it. He's like, he's a little triggered by the whole thing, but there was something that still made him get in there. And so he went through the process, did the process that I laid out, and did the 11-day ritual at the end. And he said within a few months, he had received a couple $1 million worth of grants for his church. Wow. He had never, ever had even near that amount. Not only that, but his wife's wealth ceiling started increasing as well. So by the end of the year, he stays in touch with me. By the end of the year, both he and his wife had never been in a financial position that they were in, period. Because her stuff started rocketing too. And, they're in their 50s.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah. Well, and I like also as well that, when you mentioned this too, you talk about how, heart and mission centered people should be wealthy. Let's talk a little bit about that. And I mean, I would assume, and I guess people could guess, it's like, hey, the more you have, the more you can help.
Exactly. The more you can help. And also when you think about many of the people who are naturally dialed in to wanting to be millionaires and billionaires, a lot of those folks aren't always the ones that are going to be more prone to share their wealth. So when I was writing this book, one of the reasons why Spirit told me to write it was for the heart-centered people, because they need kind of like a pep talk, inspiration, and also in order for the heart folks to see the changes on the planet that we want to see, we need economic power in order to fund our own dreams, to support the causes in the world that we'd like to see gain more traction, and things like that. And again, it's not our fault. We live in this society that values wealth. So if we're gonna be put in this game, let's learn how to play it more strongly, more powerfully.
Tell us how people can work with you. You've got some interesting programs. You have this book, and actually, I would just say, lastly, about the book, Angel Wealth Magic. What do you hope is everyone's biggest takeaway from it?
Always my biggest hope is that people realize that they're not alone, and that they're already on the inside in a source of incredible wealth of love, joy, inspiration, and that they have a right to move in those directions, in directions that make them feel loved, supported, and expanded. And if it's cash that you want to attract, it's a really great book. But I write every book to help with the inner wealth as well. The feeling of having everything that you need whenever you need it and more is really what it's about. So yeah, you're not alone. We've never been alone. If we keep our eyes open, you can see the actual real life magic that is hanging out there right underneath the surface.
Let's talk about, you have several, and everyone can go to CorinGrillo.com. Correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have lots of different programs. You have intuition trainings, tapping into healing power, lots of different things out there available for people to jump in there and sort of be guided by you?
Yes. The primary amount of work that I do is to just help people open up their intuition so that they can really learn how to trust and have confidence in their choice making, trust that they're hearing themselves and their bigger voice, their higher self, their soul, the divine, however it is you want to wrap your definitions around it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we learn how to dial into that beautiful voice that is literally guiding us to more freedom, to more love, to more joy. So yeah, a lot of the work that I do is helping people tap into their intuition or tap into nature and really discovering their authentic voice, the authentic leadership capacity within them to not just, lead big crowds, but really to lead themselves, lead their families, lead their communities, and just lead life in a more juicy way.
So what is your what do you do for fun? Where do you live? And what do you do for fun when you're, with or without angels? I'm sure
okay. Yeah. Okay. I live in the Bay Area and I party down with my kids. I love hanging out with my kids. I got chickens. I love hanging out with my chickens. I got a dog. But what I do for fun, what I do for fun is I love nature. I go outside and I talk to trees and I have actually a retreat center up in Shasta, up in northern, a little bit north of where I actually live. And my newest fascination and juice is helping people make authentic connection with nature, with the land and with the spirit of the land, to help them anchor and rebuild that root, kind of like an organic shamanic root back into the ground so that we can feel love and resilience and things like that. So I essentially love it all. And I'm doing my best to carve out a pathway of beauty on a time on the planet where it's definitely a choice to choose the path, the path of unbeauty.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. And you're basically also partially living my life. I used to be in the Bay Area.
You did?
In Southern California. Yeah, I lived there. So much beautiful nature, so many gorgeous drives. Yeah, I went to UC Santa Cruz. I lived in San Francisco for many years.
No kidding.
There's so many beautiful places. Did you go to Santa Cruz? No way.
No, I went to UCLA. I'm from LA, so I was in LA for a long time and went to UCLA and then did the whole tour of the LA area. So that's funny. Yeah, I love it down there too.
Oh, I love California. So hey, everyone listening, if you haven't been in California, you actually should just check it out sometime. It's an amazing place. Corin, thank you so much. We'll put everything to connect with you in the show notes. Go to CorinGrillo.com to learn more. I really appreciate your time. And for everyone else, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Hey listeners, over the years, a ton of companies have approached me to collaborate, but I will only promote companies whose products I believe in and that I actually use and consume on a regular basis. So let me tell you about some of my favorite companies that I can offer you discounts for. Rep Provisions, an amazing company doing incredible things for our planet, topsoil, and animals with regenerative agriculture, and it's my #1 source for quality pasture-raised meat and chicken. Visit repprovisions.com and use code L15 for 15% off. I'm also obsessed with a company called Carnivore Crisps. They make a lean, all-natural, and delicious alternative to conventional snacking, made with just real meat and real salt. Totally addictive, and my favorite ones are the beef brisket and the ribeye. Visit carnivorecrisps.com and use code PALEO10 for 10% off. I also love and regularly use Paleo Valley products. They make amazing supplements and delicious paleo products. I use the superfood greens powder, grass-fed beef sticks, the organ complex, and their bone broth bars. I love the lemon and apple. I also use their essential C complex and more. Visit paleovalley.com/promos/Elle Russ for 15% off. I also love Primal Kitchen. They make delicious paleo-approved, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and no refined sugar products. And I use them daily, from their collagen powders and sauces and marinades to their avocado and olive oil. So good, so healthy. Visit primalkitchen.com and use code L10 for 10% off. I also love paleo powder and use it almost on everything I cook. They make incredible seasoning blends, and they also have these incredible grain-free coatings that feel just like crispy breadings that you would have had prior to knowing that there's another way. So visit paleopowder.com and use code L15 for 15% off.